Now I think before I fasten these little pieces onto the bottom here, and they go on very much the same as they did on the other piece. I think the thing to do will be to try and get the deck planking painted there, and don't know if you can notice that or not, but it's it looks like the teak planking, so we'll be using the deck tan. So a moment ago I was looking at this recess in the deck here, and I was thinking, I wonder what color I should paint that, and I was thinking, oh, probably a dark gray might look good. And then I realized when this part goes over top of it, yeah, I don't need to worry about it. The plan is to use my little brush to go all the way around the edges, and the wider brush to actually fill in where the planking is. That's the plan. Oh, might have got it on a little bit too thick there. I used to use a paint like this about 40 years ago, that when it dried, it shrunk. Like the moisture all evaporated out of it, and it just sort of left all the details. But it was an enamel paint, and I believe it was Humbroil. And I've still got some of those little tins from many years ago. And surprisingly, they, as far as I know, they're still good. When I shake them, they still kind of sound like they're, you know, got fluid in them. Looks a little thin right here. I suppose maybe the smart thing to do would be to go around it again after it's dry. Problem is, I don't always do the smart thing. There is going to be a fair amount of detail going into this thing. As you saw earlier, there was the that housing that goes right in the middle, and then in all of these holes there's going to be different stuff. The real ship must have been something to see, because there would be undoubtedly a tremendous amount more stuff than what Trumpeter has put into their kit. I mean, they couldn't possibly put all the, well, that's pretty thick. Now this stairwell here, by rights I suppose I should paint it, a dark gray, but trying not to get it up the sides. Gonna have to buy myself a new brush, I guess. I ruined this one cleaning out the airbrush nozzle. It's not anywhere near as pointy as it used to be. Yeah, I'm almost all the way around. Okay, now I'll use the wide brush. Let's see, what's the best way to do this here? It doesn't matter if I get it up here because it's going to be covered anyway. I'm just going to turn it a bit here. Now this is the sort of thing that the airbrush would have really done a nice job at. That's probably going to be covered anyway, don't worry about it. Yeah, I think I'm probably going to have to give this a second coat. It looks pretty, I know I could use the word weathered, but it looks kind of blotchy. It's funny that Trumpeter went to all the trouble to make decking right there, like planking. And what's going to happen is that's going to get all covered up. Oh, that's way too much. Try and see if I can mop some of that up. Yeah, after all, if it's too thick, it's going to, it's going to lose the detail. Okay, let's let that dry, and we'll give it a second coat. About 2.5 hours has passed here. And I'm just going to go ahead and put on another coat. And I'm not going to video it, but we will take a look at it after I'm done. So, we'll see you after the second coat is dry. Several hours has passed now since I put the second coat on. And I do believe that that paint has probably shrunk as much as it's gonna. In other words, I don't think we're going to see any more detailing in the decking than we're seeing right now. This is as good as it's going to get. And I'm not going to be putting on a third coat. Now these little guys here, which I still haven't figured out what they are, I'm going to put them on after I put this piece on, because they hang down underneath here. And yeah, so I'm just going to CA this on right now. Now before I actually glue this on, let's just do a dry run, make sure it's going to go on. Yeah, it looks like it's, yeah, that's flush all the way along, all the way around on the deck. Okay. Now we'll just let that run down by gravity, and hopefully it's going to glue itself on the first try here. Now I am noticing that it did wick its way out underneath there, and it's a little bit on the planking, but I don't think anybody's going to see that, and I won't tell if you don't tell. Now if I'm going to continue on in order of how things come in the manual, I guess this section here is before this section. So we'll put these little pieces down on this piece of decking here. Now I think it'd be pretty hard to do this wrong. You see this little, like a peg, has to go down to this slot here. Something like this. This doesn't seem to want to fit very well here for some reason. Does that go like this? Now I am glad that I did not glue this into that slot, because I just pulled it out right now. And if you remember, I was mentioning that I was having trouble shoving it all the way in. And I think part of the reason it's not fitting very good is because this is not going all the way in. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and carefully scrape some of the paint off of this leading edge here where it's supposed to go in there, and see if I can't get it to go all the way back. Yeah, because it's just not fitting. It's just too tight. And let's see if I can do that without breaking off all this little delicate photo etch. Now, needless to say, I have to be very mindful of where I'm putting my fingers around the other side. Well, so far so good. I might have to do a little bit of touch up here with the paintbrush, but I probably took off a couple of thousandths of an inch or more. Okay. Just use a little brush here and carefully try and get the shavings out of there. I managed to not bend anything or break anything. Not that I can see anyway. Okay, let's give it a try. See if it'll slip in a little further. You know, it could be that it might have been a good idea to scrape out this groove, that it's the slot that it has to slide into. Well, this is going in a lot easier right now, but will it go all the way in so that it seats right at the back? I believe it went further back. Now I know this might be a little bit difficult to see, but if you look up underneath that part that we just trimmed down, you can see that the bracing goes right up against that, what you might call a funnel. Well, it's actually part of the tower. And I would say it's probably back as far as it can go right now. Okay, it's fitting good here, and it's fitting good here where it comes up against this part. But I just got to figure out how to get it to go down a little tighter onto the deck. It's pretty close. Okay, what I've done here, obviously I've turned this thing around. I put a little bit of extra thin along the seam there, and it sort of helped to dissolve the plastic where it was probably holding it down. Now it's pretty good right now. I don't think I'm going to try and do anything else. I'm just going to leave it like that and let it, set itself into place. I am getting fingerprints on this thing from pushing down so hard, but I'll do the other one pretty much the same way. Now, I was about to start doing this just now, and I heard someone say, "Ron, could you slip on the macro lens? Because I just love watching someone try and get square pegs into square holes, especially if you have to fight a little bit to get it to fit." Hey, this one's going pretty good. Okay, oops. Okay, now we'll do the extra thin thing again, and we're done. You're welcome. We have a searchlight and two little guns to go on, and then I believe this section is done. Now I know it's pointing this way, and I've got this pointing that way, but I think you'll figure it out. This is the first of 8 searchlights. Now the diagram has it pointing straight ahead, but the funny thing is, any photos that I've actually seen of the Bismarck, this thing here is backwards like this. And I don't know which way looks best. It's kind of interesting when you see it from the back. I think I'm going to just check that out and see if I can find any other photographs that, where maybe it's pointing the other way, pointing forward. Now this is kind of interesting. On the bottom there, I don't know if you can tell, but it is sort of flat-sided on part of that circle. Well, part of the circle on the base is also flat-sided. And in order for this to sit down properly, it has to be facing backwards. So I guess the drawing is wrong, and whoever designed the model, had it right. Anyway, it's not a real serious thing, but it's kind of nice to know that at least you got it right. Okay. Now, according to the drawing, the guns are sort of facing out to the sides. And that's probably the way I would have, put them. I don't think they're keyed. I think you can probably put them any direction you want. Oh, maybe it's a little bit too much pointing astern here. Well, let's leave well enough alone. I'm going to end up breaking off one of those barrels if I keep this up. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That completes this section right here. And there isn't a whole lot to do here, except this piece here has to have these pieces put on it. And I think probably I'll mark the tops of this less if I do it on this soft cloth. Okay, because these have to go on like this. I'll zoom in. Okay, let's get ready here. I know I keep holding these things the wrong way around. They're supposed to actually go like this. I gotta look these things up and find out what they are. Okay. So, how can I hold this down now? I'll just twist myself around here a little bit. Maybe this paintbrush handle is not the best thing. I've got to block this up somehow. Okay, there we go. No, it's not going to be moving around. Well, I'll get a little bit of extra thin on there, and then it'll want to stay in place. Okay, I think what I'll do is I'll just go and wherever there's contact, I'm just going to put a little bit of CA using my needle here. Now if I let go, this should stay there. There we go. And maybe a little bit here too. It is making contact. Oops, I put it in the wrong place. And now the other one. Chances are this jointed hold anyway. And maybe a little right there. Okay. Let's get this centered here. Whoops, don't go breaking it off now, Ron. Okay, you can see on the bottom there, that's supposed to go right here. So why won't it fit? Well, there we go. It is 12 noon in Winnipeg right now. I don't know, something doesn't seem right here. Okay. You know what? This thing isn't working this way. Oh! I know what was wrong. I was trying to put it the wrong way. It's supposed to go like this. What color is my red face? Oh my goodness. How could have I not noticed that? Well, I could always cut this out, but you know me, I show everything. Obviously, I decided to leave that in. I don't know why, but I did. That was so pathetic. Anyway, thanks for watching, and all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.